The following video was recorded in 2016 and first posted in May of 2017. However, this is more than simply a re-edit of a previously deleted video. More specifically, after the 7-minute mark, virtually all the footage shown has never been seen before. It's basically like a new video.
We know that from time to time there arise among human beings people who seem to exude love as naturally as the sun gives out heat.
We do not promote the use of legal or illegal psychoactive substances. This video has been created strictly for harm reduction purposes. According to YouTube's own community guidelines shown here, videos which intend to educate but do not glorify substance use are generally suitable for advertising. The following video does not glorify the use of drugs, is also not graphic since it does not show the consumption of any illegal substances. The following video is strictly educational. Now, the primary concern, I think, with DMT is if someone gives you 5-MeO-DMT when you're expecting nn-DMT. This video is about nn-dimethyltryptamine, but there's another substance that causes similar effects where it kind of pulls out of your body, and it's called 5-MeO-DMT. The primary differences are 5-MeO-DMT doesn't necessarily have the same safety profile as DMT, and it's far more potent. I think it's something like 4 times as potent, don't quote me on that, but I do know that if you were to take, say, 50 milligrams of DMT, and you accidentally took 50 milligrams of 5-MeO-DMT, there's a good chance that you would experience something like respiratory failure. In fact, there used to be a video on YouTube, I'm not sure if you can still find it, of this doctor, or shaman I mean, who administers 5-MeO-DMT to this woman. And he explains in the video that she was turning purple, so he had to pour water on her face so she would start breathing. Granted, in low doses, it's probably very safe. No one has ever died from smoking 5-MeO-DMT. However, people have died from ingesting 5-MeO-DMT orally. They've died from mixing it with monoamine oxidase inhibitors. If you live in, for example, Canada, it's actually a legal research chemical, meaning anybody can order it online legally. It falls in this little gray area where as long as it's not sold for human consumption, people can buy it and then sell it to people saying, hey, here's some DMT. All that I'm really getting at here is you really want to make sure that you have real nn-DMT before you go off and load a bowl with like 50 milligrams and hope to break through. Now, unfortunately, these reagent kits won't 100% tell you that you have the drug you're hoping to have. But for those of you who don't want to spend the time, sending your drugs away to a laboratory and waiting for the results, it's really the next best thing. And as long as you're using more than one reagent, the testing is quite accurate. Now, if you are low on cash, you could technically get away with just using the Ehrlich and then using the marquees to identify what you have. You can get each of these reagents for $20 or less. I know for some of you watching, this can get quite expensive. I mean, you have to get the substance that you want to consume, you've got to get the reagent kits to test it, but that's just the price you have to pay if you want to, take care of your body and ensure that you don't accidentally harm or, worse, kill yourself over a drug experience. Anyway, now that we have got all of the tedious safety information out of the way, let's move on to the second part of this video where we document Seth's live experience. For this experience, he attempted to consume about 50 milligrams of some DMT that he personally tested himself, so he knew it was real, and I was there along for the ride to videotape his experience and have him pretty much break it down after it happened. It's pretty apparent that he's not really enjoying himself. The following segment has been included for documentary purposes only. It needs to be clear that the creators of this video do not condone the use of legal or illegal substances. We were only here to document Seth's experience. Seth is the creator of the Drug Classroom YouTube series, and he is currently studying for his PhD in neuroscience. The following clip begins the moment that Seth appears to lose consciousness. And as per YouTube's advertiser-friendly guidelines, no substance consumption has been displayed. Please keep in mind that while Seth attempts to explain his experience, he is still extremely groggy and discombobulated, and he wanted me to include some kind of a warning here because he was kind of embarrassed of just how, I don't know, out of it he looked. So was there any fear?
There was sort of an initial period where it wasn't like a fear, but more like a frozen in terror type response. Like I had no clue how to process what was happening, so it was just like I was just stuck. It's not really fear, like really scared, because I wasn't even processing being scared. I was just like frozen in terror.
Terror is a step above scared, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to differentiate them as being like scared or fear, having more subjective quality to it, and really I'm just trying to use the phrase frozen in terror because I'm not sure how to describe my emotional state during it.
Was there any panic? Did you feel a sense of like impending doom?
No.
Okay.
No, honestly, the greatest negative, like true negative feelings actually came after the experience was over.
Oh.
Yeah, and it kind of hit me then. For no reason.
What were the negatives?
I don't know. It was a more genuine feeling of scared, coupled with confusion, for like 5 minutes or so. And this was after, like, there were still some visuals at that point, but it's just minor.
What did it look like in here? What were the visuals like when you did come to?
Just really, really bright. And, like, the floor had multiple layers, like 2 layers. And there was the floor, but then there was, like, a floor above the floor.
Yeah.
Like, projecting from it. And beyond that, I didn't pay much attention. I just kind of stumbled out of the room.
Yeah, when he came to you, he said he had to use the bathroom, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
So let's cover the positives. Did you get anything positive out of that?
I don't know if I got anything positive out of that.
So to sum up the experience, it was colors.
No, it wasn't even really colors. The primary thing was, I'm talking like the thousands of visualized, I don't even want to say entities because they practically looked human-like.
You saw like creatures? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying creatures for lack of a better term. I don't want to call humans because they weren't for sure humans. They were
they seemed
bipedals?
like,
Is that what you call it?
No, they were like
bipeds?
They're almost caricatures of humans.
Okay.
Like humans in a animated movie. Like they were distinctly not human, but they had the closest resemblance to a human. They weren't just like a ball of energy or like an animal, but like human-like.
What were they made of? What did their skin look like?
Oh, honestly,
Did they have skin?
They did, because their faces were distinguishable and they all looked different.
Okay.
And they were doing different things. Most of the time, like coming towards me, like encroaching on me. Sometimes they were just doing things in the background, but they were literally in the thousands, which is why it's hard to really give a description of what they were doing.
You didn't. There was no waiting room or tunnel that you would describe.
No, the only tunnel was in the true beginning period, and then it sort of there was, at the same time as the ringing was building in my ears, there was sort of at this point it was only colors, and it kind of felt like a tunnel in that regard. And then it broke into this experience, which was just dominated by these whatever human-like things. Then I'm not sure how far through it was. I'm not sure for time, but
Time dilation? Any of that? Did it feel like it was a long time or just regular time? Like you were out for 5 to 8 minutes. Did it feel that long or longer?
oh yeah, it wasn't extreme dilation, but that felt like a 20-30 minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a 5-day experience. There were stages, and even stages coming out, because went from sort of the colors and some patterns and the ringing in my ears, or the sound in my ears, going into sort of opening into some figures existing, to then more sort of detailed figures existing, backing out of the experience in the same sort of stages with this literal door closing. Which is one of the only memories I have.
Did you feel a sense of rising out of your body, or like an out-of-body type experience? Or did you feel like the whole time you were in yourself?
No, in the sort of pre-peak and post-peak, I just felt somewhat connected to my body. Because I could hear things. I didn't feel connected to my legs at any point. So I was pretty much connected from chest up, but during the peak, I really don't have any memory of like I wasn't comprehending my body at all.
Okay.
But there wasn't a feeling of rising out of the body. It just kind of ceased to be something that was registering.
That's what I mean.
I was totally focused on whatever was happening.
So there was never a feeling of like I'm leaving myself.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, and I didn't feel like I was close to a breakthrough. If I were just to go a little bit further, something more could happen. I took that to mean sort of a breakthrough was around the corner. Instead, it was really this.
Gotcha. Gotcha. People don't realize how difficult it actually is to get that breakthrough. I've had people email me being like, "Do you have any tips on how to break through? I've got this stuff, I can't get there." It's effort. It's some hard work to get that experience. For some people, for others, it seems like they just need a little bit and they're gone.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
And what's interesting is that both in this experience and obviously other people's for DMT, sort of this effect of producing either open or closed eye visualizations of whether it's people or animals or whatever, which doesn't happen really reliably with common psychedelics like LSD. You're usually not going to have like a visualization of an animal or a person.
No.
Yet, it is incredibly common on ayahuasca.
True.
And it kind of felt like a closed eye version. I've never done ayahuasca, but it felt like the visualizations were somewhat similar to what is described open eye with ayahuasca.
Okay. But all too fast to really interpret it in any kind of way.
Thing. It wasn't like true memory impairment. Like, it wasn't like that period was just blacked out. It was just too much going on. So
like sensory overload kind of thing?
Because I could give you a description to some extent for like 2 of the figures I saw, but there were 1,000. 1,000 in a literal time span of like 5 minutes.
Were they aware of each other?
No, they weren't interacting with each other. They were just doing their own stuff.
Ah.
Yeah. And sometimes they totally ignored me, and I was just viewing them. And other times it was like they were like stabbing into my like eyes, essentially. Like literally, yeah, and then yeah, all sorts of weird actions.
Well, let's put this in the record books for another very bizarre DMT experience to add
Yeah,
to the collection.
And obviously went into it with the goal of a breakthrough, but the nice thing is that this is a different group of effects than I've had before, so it wasn't a total waste or anything.
I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video and if you enjoyed the part with Seth, I would highly recommend that you guys go and subscribe to his channel. Seth has a similar goal that I have. He wishes to destigmatize drugs and to help people be more safe. He just takes a slightly more scientific approach than I do. I'd also like to give a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to me. If you guys like what you see, please consider subscribing. I'd also like to give a big shout out to all the patrons in this box right here. You guys are my top contributors and I love each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. If you guys want to get behind what I'm doing with this channel, if you support my mission, please consider checking out Patreon. Unlike most YouTube channels that make their money via advertising and sponsorship, because we're talking about drugs, I don't really get any of that. Meaning I don't really make much via YouTube. The only reason that this channel stays afloat and I can focus on harm reduction as my full-time gig is thanks to people supporting me on Patreon. I hate throwing like so many links at you. It's like, look at Seth's channel, check out Patreon, get a test kit. This is the last one, I promise. If you need a test kit, link in video description to the company that donated these test kits to me. Anyway, till next time, stay safe guys, always test your drugs, and let me know in the comments section what you would like to see next. Take care, everyone.